What's up, guys? Today on Sports Central, we'll be going over a college football game preview. This one's going to be over Oklahoma and Baylor. Both of these teams having excellent seasons so far. Obviously, Oklahoma is 8-1 coming into this game, and Baylor is still undefeated. But is it possible that Baylor has their first loss here in this game is what we're going over here today. Last week, Oklahoma beat Iowa State 42-41, and that one was close. Obviously, Oklahoma, they had a 42-21 lead at one point, and Iowa State was able to storm back, and they almost made a two-point conversion to give them the lead with about 30 seconds left. But that ended up not happening. Oklahoma ended up winning that one 42-41. Baylor beat TCU in 3 overtimes, 29-23. And obviously, that is a great win for them, considering they haven't really been able to beat TCU in recent years. A few key stats from that game: Jalen Hurts 18 for 26, 274 yards, 3 touchdowns, 1 interception. Then Charlie Brewer for Baylor, 27 for 41, 195 yards, 2 touchdowns, and 1 interception. So it wasn't the best game for Charlie Brewer, but obviously Jalen Hurts still had a pretty good game. This game is going to be on Saturday, November the 16th, 6:30 p.m. Central. Spread currently has Oklahoma by 12, and the FPI is also saying Oklahoma 74%. So it's kind of those two, the spread and the FPI, they're having Oklahoma by a wide margin. And that's kind of surprising coming into a road game against an undefeated team in week number 12. Vegas is saying 44-37 Oklahoma, so all three of those sources are saying Oklahoma here in this one. And here's your stat comparison as well. Oklahoma's got 48 points per game right now on average. That is excellent. They've allowed 25 points so far per game, 338 pass yards per game, 249 rushing yards, and then they've allowed 354 they've allowed 354 yards per game. Baylor, on the other hand, doesn't have as good of an offense apparently, as they've got 35.3 points per game, but their defense does look better as they've allowed 19 on average per game. 271 pass yards, 188 rush yards, and then they've got 337 yards allowed per game as well. So obviously both of these teams are good in different areas. Oklahoma seems to be better on offense, but Baylor is better on defense. Oklahoma, once again, is 8-1 coming into this game, and Baylor is 9-0. Also, I mean, you got to consider, even though Oklahoma seems to be the better team, they are going on the road. I mean, and obviously Baylor has been a tough place to play in the past. We've seen Baylor pull off some pretty big upsets at home in recent years. So that's something that Oklahoma is going to need to watch out for here in this game. Here's your last 5 games for both of these teams. Oklahoma once again played Iowa State last week, won it. Then they had that one big loss at Kansas State where they lost 48-41. Kansas State dominated that game. West Virginia, they beat them up 52-14. They beat number 11 at the time, Texas, 34-27 at home. And then they beat Kansas on the road 45-20. Baylor has had a couple overtime games. They beat TCU once again last week, beat West Virginia by 3, beat Oklahoma State 45-27, beat Texas Tech in 2 overtimes 33-30, then beat Kansas State 31-12. So, I mean, it is very, very difficult to predict this game. And I think this is probably the toughest prediction I've had to make all season long so far. And I mean, it's like both of these teams just seem to be even right now. I mean, you don't have any advantages through the last 5 games or the last 10 games, because obviously, I mean, Oklahoma's got the better wins, but then again, they've taken a loss to Kansas State, and Baylor beat Kansas State 31-12. They handled them easily. And then you look at Oklahoma and say, let's see, they beat West Virginia 52-14. Then again, Baylor only beat West Virginia 17-14. And so, I mean, there's no way through like the last 5 games or the last 10 games you can determine who's the better team. I mean, Oklahoma's got 1 loss, but they've beaten their opponents more than Baylor has, or Oklahoma's had a tougher schedule. You could say that too. This is a very even game, and it's very, very difficult to predict, that is for sure. Here's a few key points, though. Baylor is still undefeated once again. Both teams with close calls in Week 11. But how important is this game for both teams? Obviously, Baylor is sitting at the top of the Big 12 right now, and they're in a great position. I mean, in the preseason, I thought Baylor was going to be pretty good. I was expecting like 8 wins, maybe 9 wins out of this team, I believe. And obviously, I mean, I thought Iowa State would still finish 3rd in the Big 12. But man, I mean, Baylor's really rose to the occasion. They've had a great season. And it is very, very possible that we see this game once again in a couple weeks for the Big 12 championship at this point. I mean, Texas is 3 games down. I think they've got they've either got 2 or 3 losses. But man, for Baylor though, this is great. They do have Texas next week. You gotta remember that. But back to this game, this is going to be big, obviously, with both of these teams, and of course, Texas can still come back and make the Big 12 championship if one of these teams goes on a losing streak. So yeah, this is a very important game. High scoring shootout possible. Obviously, in the Big 12, shootouts are very common, and I think it is very possible that we do see one here in this game as well. Well, finally, here's my prediction for this one. Halftime, I think it's going to be 21-21. We're going to have a tie game. We're going to have a shootout in the first half. I think Oklahoma scores first, and then Baylor follows. Oklahoma scores again, Baylor follows again, etc. And we'll have a 21-21 halftime score. In the second half, I think that we've got, once again, another high-scoring half, but I think Oklahoma ends up pulling this one up on the road, and they end up winning at 42-38. Huge win for Oklahoma if they can get it done here. And obviously, I mean, this is a big game for Baylor especially. I mean, game day is coming to town out here, and then they've also got the primetime game on ABC. So this is going to be a big-time moment for Baylor, and they're going to really need this win, and it would be huge if they did win it. But I think Oklahoma, in the end, is the better team. They're the stronger team, and even though Oklahoma has a loss, I still think that they do get this done against Baylor, and they go out of Waco with a win, 42-38. Let me know your guys' thoughts on this game in the comments below. If you think Oklahoma can get a win here, be sure to let me know. Let me know your guys' score predictions as well in the comments below. I'd like to hear all of those. But yeah, thank you guys all for watching once again. Stay tuned for more college football game previews over Week 12. We'll be going over some NFL Week 11 coming out pretty quick as well. So yeah, thank you guys all for watching. Be sure to subscribe for more content, and I'll see you all later.